So some kind of entertainment before they went on the pitch?
I mean, Brady's starting to get a slightly smug expression on his face, so I think he has nailed it.
Mary's a chance of getting this one, I think. This is almost your wheelhouse, Mary.
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't quite classify it as entertainment, but certainly there's
It's something to do with the national anthem?
Ah, yes. What might that be?
Do their national anthems have the same melody, maybe? So they're playing the same tune twice because it's an instrumental version?
You are absolutely right. Brady, let's see what's on your card.
I wrote same anthems.
You are absolutely right. I love the
anthems.
teamwork between the two of you there as well. Yes, they both use the same tune. England has God Save the Queen. Liechtenstein has O Ben am jungen Rhein, which is High on the Young Rhine.
It's by Snoop Dogg.
Wow.
There we go. Thank you, Brady. I read that off my notes and my brain just couldn't quite complete the joke there. That's. You also have Norway's royal anthem, the same tune, and the American patriotic song My Country 'Tis of Thee. They are all the same tune. There's 100 composers who've ripped that off.
We learned My Country 'Tis of Thee in elementary school, and at some point someone told me that it was specifically kind of a little bit of a middle finger back to the UK after the whole independence affair. That basically the words were rewritten as a way of claiming what was a very good melody and making sure no one here knew God Save the Queen.
Well, a virtual high five, Eric. Yay, teamwork.
I mean, these days they presumably get sued over it. I assume that, like, musicians' copyright is now you're not really reusing anyone's melodies.
It depends how old it is, I think. Copyright laws, I think it's after 70 years. If it's older than 70 years, you can...
I know it's a complicated number there. I know you can use the old stuff, but I'm guessing at this point, no composer's going to just take someone's melody and change the lyrics to it.
I think they literally could, depending on how old the melody is. In the first place.
Liechtenstein did.
But yeah, if you took an Ed Sheeran song and then tried to, I think he'd come after you because people have gone after him. But I don't think you're going to use an Ed Sheeran song.
That was just the really threatening idea of Ed Sheeran just coming after me. Just.
And now please rise for the national anthem, which is The Shape of You.
But if a country made an Ed Sheeran song their national anthem, and that's like the whole country, where's he going to sue them? Like, what jurisdiction? Like, the country's not going to, they're like, you can't sue us in our country. Like,
Didn't that just happen with the Australian Aboriginal flag?
Really?
The flag of the Aboriginal Australian flag is copyrighted, or at least it was, because it's a modern design. And in a lot of countries, I think like the US, simple geometric design, you can't really copyright it. Australian law, you absolutely can, and people slapping on merchandise, we had cease and desist. And I think this year, the Australian government has actually just bought the copyright to it, which is still, like, kind of complicated because that is not the right people to own it, according to a lot of folks. This is a complicated issue that I don't understand and will just step in a minefield on. But, yeah, I don't think you can just steal a pop song as your national anthem and claim, no, it's our anthem now.
Only one way to find out.
I think, although I do like that idea, because I like the idea of Ed Sheeran as a copyright claimant going up against a nuclear power.
Nice. I'd back Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
But yes, the answer is the same national anthem theme is played twice, once for England, once for Liechtenstein, and I just have the horrible feeling that the England fans sing along to both. We now go to a question from one of our guests. Mary, kick us off this time. What question have you got for us?
In 1861, a Frenchman won something and became a soldier. In 1891, he won it again and became a painter. What did this famous person win twice?
And he became those things as a result of winning whatever the thing is.
That's a terrible lottery. Is there cause and effect there?
It's a particular concept that he won.
Okay.
So I don't think it led to him.
All right. Well, that's fine.
actually,
You don't need to give us
no.
too many hints. We've got to stumble around in the dark for a while first.
Well, I don't want to burst your bubble, but you did just sort of kind of hit it on the head with one word.
As a lottery.
You're kidding.
You absolutely nailed it. I do have a
You
spare
just won the lottery, Tom. You just won the lottery.
I
You
was
won the
making a
lottery.
terrible joke. That can't possibly. Okay,
yeah.
no, okay. So that's a big
hang on.
hint. We've got to still figure something out.
Why would winning the lottery make you, or a lottery, make you become a soldier and then a painter? Is it like just maybe in those days, like you buy a commission if you got lots of money? So he bought a commission into like the military, and then when he won a lot more money, he was like, oh, I don't need a job anymore. Now I can just do what I want, and I want to paint.
That's true because you
too.
could take. You could join the military as I don't know what the French ranks would be, but very low down, or you could pay for a commission position. That was right, wasn't it?
You could do it in Britain. I don't know if you could do it in France. That's my guess. But
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is that it could be a draft. It could be like the US had the US for the Vietnam War had the draft lottery, and it was by birthday, I think, or something like
So
that.
maybe they were two different lotteries. Maybe the second lottery he won got him out of the military. So he got drafted in 1861, and then he won a whole stack of money in 1891. So he's like, oh, I can get out of the military now and paint.
Well, I also
flowers.
wonder that the idea that he became a painter after winning the second lottery makes me think that maybe it was some sort of government arts program where it was like, everyone who wants to get an education in the arts, you enter into this lottery, and if you win, we will send you to this great art school that you couldn't get into on your own merits, maybe.
I mean, that sounds like a lovely program. I somehow doubt it, but
I don't know, it's France, you know, they actually have culture there.
I don't know whether to be insulted by that. Oh wait, yeah, the question was who was he, wasn't it?
Who was he?
Oh, okay.
Oh, right.
I thought we were trying to... Oh, okay.
What did this famous person win twice? So who is the famous person and what did they win twice?
Mary, did he win the same thing, or did he win two different things?
It's the concept that he won.
So it is a lottery or a drawing or something like that.
Yeah, but they're not necessarily the same.
I mean, famous French people in the late 19th century is not one of my specialist subjects.
Same.
There's a hint. He won it again and became a painter. That helps decide.
Okay.
A French painter.
Oh, God. It's
That's the problem.
the problem.
Yeah.
You've got three people with no art knowledge here.
What about the one who's a little person? Wasn't Degas, was it? No. I can't remember his name.
I just don't know the years for all the famous
I
painters.
don't. Monet? No.
Oh, well, yes.
That was
Yes, it was Monet.
How do I keep stumbling this? I just literally...
You are laterally thinking.
I didn't even know Monet was a soldier.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so the answer, Claude Monet won a lottery twice. Won a lottery twice, not the lottery. In 1861, Claude Monet drew an unlucky number in the lottery system used to determine who would be chosen for 7 years of military service in Algeria. He only served for 1 year since he contracted typhoid in 1862, and his art brought him out of the army after that. But in 1891, so 30 years later, he won 100,000 francs in the French National Lottery. This allowed him to quit his job as a messenger and become a painter full-time.
Nice.
That's a lovely question.
The lottery, not always evil.
Would you use the word win for being drafted in any way? I'm not sure you would.
Next question is from me. Good luck. Why did many people, including Franz Kafka, queue up to look at a blank wall? I'll give you that again. Why did many people, including Franz Kafka, queue up to look at a blank wall?
Some kind of trendy art piece? Or
Yeah, some sort of modern art.
Yeah, that feels too obvious.
Yeah.
Well, that's the aim of my game, be very obvious.
It just worked for me.
I mean, we don't know what color the wall was. It's a blank wall, but we don't know if it's necessarily a white wall. It could be some specific color. Maybe it could be like a newly invented pigment.
The darkest
Or-
black.
Yeah, something like that.
Anish Kapoor.
Or it could be, I guess like a stone wall could still be blank if it's not painted or adorned otherwise. So it could be something interesting about the type of material used to build the wall.
I feel like there's a double meaning to the blank wall. I feel like there's more to this blank wall than we're then we're
Yeah.
taking it too literally, the blank wall.
Oh,
Is the blank wall then screened upon by a film?
no, it is
made?
very literally a blank wall.
Right.
There's how do I phrase this? I'll just leave you with that. No, it is very literally a blank wall.
Is it a wall of some import?
That's an. I can't answer that without giving away more.
Do you
Okay.
think it's the Berlin Wall? Is that a blank wall?
Not sure Franz Kafka lines up with the dates for the Berlin Wall.
Oh, no, yeah. Franz Kafka, yeah.
Franz Kafka himself is not relevant to the question. That's just trying to give you a vague kind of area and time.
Lined up to stare. Oh. Wait.
Great Wall of China?
Mine's quite sinister. My answer's quite sinister. Is it a sinister
Yeah.
answer?
I mean, Franz Kafka is quite sinister, but
Yes. Did people line up?
no. I know where you're going with that.
Okay,
And
okay.
no. But yeah, something bad had happened. Not that bad, but something bad had happened.
It's not like me being a child and being told to stand up against a wall because I'd been naughty.
No,
With my face
there
a
is-
wall. I was on timeout or something.
Franz Kafka stole his mother's cookies and he was facing the blank wall.
That is a very, very modern art experience, that. You just line up and you just stare at that wall for 5 minutes. Honestly, you could probably charge admission to that in Shoreditch.
I know. I think I will.
Call it, think about what you've done.
Did the wall stay blank?
For a little while, yes. For about a year. This was 1911, 1912. For over a year, that wall stayed blank. It didn't used to be, and it wasn't afterwards, but for more than a year it was blank.
Huh.
How long did people stand in front of it?
I mean, not particularly long. I mean, there were a lot of people standing in front of it, but they didn't need to be there for too long.
So was the wall blocking admission to something?
No, you're in the right area with art, by the way.
Is it the Mona Lisa being missing or something?
Yes.
Oh.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, was it
Oh my god, I was just literally...
Don't know where that came from all of a sudden. Yes.
Wow.
I'm so jealous because I just spent I saw the Mona Lisa last week and I would have spent 3 or 4 hours reading about the theft of the Mona Lisa and I never once came across Franz Kafka.
So they went... Oh, I don't even know the story. I feel like I do know the story, but I don't know the story.
Is it the theft of the Mona
The
Lisa?
Mona Lisa was stolen. Was it stolen or was it just preserved in the wall?
No, it was stolen. August
Stolen.
21st, 1911.
Yeah, and it was gone for ages until they got it back.
And so people still went to visit the blank wall.
Well, it was the Louvre.
This is where the Mona Lisa was stolen. That's your new tourist attraction.
The Mona Lisa wasn't famous at that point. It was actually quite an obscure painting.
Really?
Well, not obscure, but it was not a famous painting. And it was the theft of the Mona Lisa and its disappearance for like a year that generated all the buzz around it. And it became like, now it's famous partly because it got stolen.
I am so proud of myself. I am now officially smug.
We've all had our moments.
It was a guy who thought it should be repatriated to Italy, wasn't it? Because Da Vinci painted it.
Yeah, it was Vincenzo Perugia was his name. I don't know why I bothered rolling that R. It's Italian. That was the wrong accent to do it in anyway. But yes, he revealed he had the painting just over 2 years later. But by that point, the Louvre had given up and hung a different portrait in its place.
Oh,
So yes, for roughly a year, there was a blank wall. This is where the Mona Lisa used to be, and people queued up for it.
It was actually, though, it wasn't like it is now where it has its own wall. It was actually like a series of paintings. It was like painting, blank space, painting. So it was such an unimportant painting. It just sat amongst the others. But, yeah. Well done, Mary. But I'm mad at myself about that because I was just reading about it.
don't you think with the influence we could have, what boring painting shall we now make the new Mona Lisa? Where it's like, hang on a minute,
Do you know
this is
anyone?
kind of like a...
Or do you know anyone who's a painter? Because you could make them very rich.
I actually do know a painter.
Steal one of their paintings and make a new story about it. That's
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Last time we were on the show, didn't we plot to form a gang and commit theft? And now we're doing it again.
Hi, Steve.
We are just a heist movie. I think, I want to ruin my reputation online.
I'll tell you, can I say one last thing about the Mona Lisa? Because I'm full of Mona Lisa information at the moment.
Yeah.
If you want to see something interesting, go and Google the back of the Mona Lisa. It's really interesting seeing the back of famous paintings, and there are lots of pictures online of what the Mona Lisa looks like on the other side. It's really interesting on the the wooden back. More interesting than you'd think.
Have you ever watched those documentaries where they do literally like X-ray paintings and show what was underneath? Oh my God, it's so fascinating. Wow.
They've done that to the Mona Lisa so many times, it must be radioactive by now.
Time for another question from one of our guests. Eric, it's on you this time. What do you have for us?
All right. I have a question about Turkey. In the district of Eyüp, E-Y-U with a little umlaut P, I don't know how to pronounce that, in Istanbul, Turkey, there is an old grand cemetery that houses the graves of rulers, religious leaders, military commanders, intellectuals, and artists. On a hill just beside here lies a separate graveyard with blank headstones. What type of people were buried there? So one more time, I'll read that again. In the district of Eyüp in Istanbul, Turkey, there's an old grand cemetery that houses the graves of rulers, religious leaders, military commanders, intellectuals, and artists. On a hill just beside here lies a separate graveyard with blank headstones. What type of people were buried there?
I think I might know this one. I might have to accuse myself
Gotta
here.
write it down.
But I might be setting myself up for a fall. I'm not sure.
Brady and Mary, I think it's on you.
Well, I would just think of the stereotypical unmarked tombstones if they don't know the names of the dead.
Yeah, like unknown soldiers sort of thing.
I can tell you that the headstones were deliberately left blank when they were installed.
Wait, did Brady just not get it with soldiers there?
No, he did not.
Well, I
Tom,
get
you're
to be the
back.
foolish one.
Welcome back,
I
Tom.
was like, I thought I knew this story, and I thought it was the graveyard that's technically in another country or something like that, and I got it completely wrong. So I am the foolish one today. Sorry, that's on me.
That
You're
is
back in the
totally
game,
foolish.
Tom. You
You're
can
back
help
in the
us
game.
again.
I am, but
Yeah,
with
power play.
but with egg on my face. That's on me.
Intentionally blank. So were they naughty?
Had they not paid for something?
Ooh.
No, it's not a result of a death.
Because when you go to the Royal Society, they have the people who've been elected fellows of this esteemed science institution in this book. And sometimes you go through all the old names like Isaac Newton and Christopher Wren and that, and occasionally you'll see a name that literally has just been crossed out. They've all signed the book, they've all put their autograph in the book, and someone's crossed out. And you're like, why'd that person get crossed out? 9 times out of 10, it's because they didn't pay their dues.
I've got a very cynical answer.
Go ahead.
If everyone was, an artist or what was the list of people in the marked or the
Yeah,
creatives?
the other cemetery has rulers, religious leaders, military commanders, intellectuals, and artists.
So I would assume they're all men. Was it their wives in the unmarked or?
No,
That's
you're
very
getting a little bit
dark.
colder.
Okay, it's too cold. Okay, good. I'm glad.
A little bit colder.
that's a cynical answer.
Is there some kind of religion or people with some kind of belief that don't like their name to be memorialized?
No, so I would say this is more political than it is religious. And I'll tell you, it has something to do with the people who were buried in the second cemetery. They performed a job during the Ottoman era. They'd all done a particular job, I should say.
I've got.
Ooh, had they
This-
murdered the other people?
Was not having their name for protective reasons, or was it a sign of disrespect to them?
Very good thought.
He's not answering that one. It's just a very good.
Who would need
So,
to be
'cause-
protected?
Yeah, so they could be like, spies or like,
They don't need to be protected, but their families need to be protected.
Yeah. Because if Uncle Bill was a spy or in some secret organisation,
Very warm. You're getting much warmer.
like the stars they have at the Pentagon for CIA agents who die in service and they can't name them, and they've just got that wall of stars.
The last clue I have for you here is, you're very close here. Some families would have borne a specific grudge towards these people. Any guesses?
I feel like I'm walking on a minefield here because I do not know enough about the history and politics of that area.
No.
So did they do the killing? I don't know. I just keep going on about
These
this.
are like executioners.
Is there death involved here, Eric?
I think Mary started to get it, and then Brady said the magic word, which is
They were executioners.
executioners. People could only be buried at the executioners cemetery at night. Their headstones were left blank to reduce the chance of retaliation by the families of any of the people they had killed. A few of the executioners' graves still exist to this day.
That is the bleakest question we've had in a while.
Oh, so it was dark. It was dark. I went dark.
Yeah, no, you had exactly the right instinct there, Mary. I wrote the wrong thing down, so I get the shame on me for this question. But congratulations. I think that is a bleak question.
Ooh, well done.
So, to wrap up, in the district of Eyüp in Istanbul, Turkey, there's 2 cemeteries. One has all the rulers and religious leaders and so on, but next to it, there's a separate graveyard with blank headstones, which is full of executioners. They were buried at night, and they were left blank to reduce the risk of revenge.
One question remaining from the guest, and one big question left from me. If you're all ready, Suzanne Asbury Oliver can only write about 7 letters at a time in the 10 minutes available. She must do so in mirror writing, and she finds S and W the hardest. What is her job? I'll give you that one more time. Suzanne Asbury Oliver can only write about 7 letters at a time in the 10 minutes available. She must do so in mirror writing and finds S and W the hardest. What is her job?
I have a guess that I'm going to write down.
Oh, not again, Eric.
I'm not very confident in this one, if that helps. I'm not so
Oh, no,
confident.
then talk it through. Talk it through.
Then play it through.
Yeah.
Okay. My thought is, if you work in an office with like labels of different offices in the building, and you have someone who's writing the name of the person and their occupation on the inside of the door, wouldn't that have to be written backwards so that from the hallway you can see what their name is and what they do?
But why only 7 letters at a time in the 10 minutes
good.
she has available?
And it's not like it's time sensitive, so it's not like a game show or something that's time sensitive that you'd have to write. Ooh, is it something to do with winning a competition? The names they have to engrave?
Engraving. I was thinking about engraving on trophies. But I couldn't see the S. I can't see why you'd have to do that in mirror, and I can't see where the S and the W.
Have to do something back.
I mean, I imagine there is a competitive... humans will create competitions out of anything, so there probably is a competitive branch of this. But no, this is her job. She's not competing here. It is something she is hired to do.
Maybe it's like trophy engraving. Like there's only a limited amount of space on one of those little label at the bottom of a trophy saying who won something.
I mean, I did see when England won the Women's Euros that just for a moment they cut to the shot of the trophy being engraved live and put that on the Jumbotron for the fans who went even louder than they currently were. It is, but 7 letters at a time, you're going to have trouble if Switzerland win there.
Ooh, is it something to do with something setting? If she's only got 10 minutes and it's going to set in the time, but she can only get 7 letters. It's not like the Hollywood Walk of Fame or something, not that, but like something
like that
along those lines where it's urgent.
Yeah, what's creating the time limit?
Yeah, something setting in concrete or something.
The medium, you're close there. The medium is creating the time limit for the writing.
What material sets in 10 minutes?
I have another guess.
Letters. Okay.
What if they're a skywriter and they're drawing letters in the sky and those only last for a few minutes and then they get blown away by the wind?
You are absolutely right,
That's
Eric.
it.
Spot on. Suzanne Asbury Oliver is the only active female professional skywriter. She's been employed to write Pepsi in the sky around America for 25 years, among many other commissions. She has to write them back to front so they look correct to the people on the ground.
And W would be
W and S are really difficult to write. The slow writing speed isn't her own body, it's that she is pulling high G aerobatic maneuvers in order to get the S and the W there.
How fascinating.
You are absolutely right. And yeah, she's got about 10 to 15 minutes, so if she's not done with 7 letters or so by then, the first one's blown away.
Wow, and then it could spell something very, very bad.
I was once at Disney World and I looked up in the sky and there was a skywriter up there, and it looked, when I first looked up, it said "Love Go," and I thought, oh wow, it's a board game enthusiast. But it was just someone in Florida who hired a plane to write "Love God," which is, I think, much less interesting.
There are also skywriting teams now who fly in formation, kind of 7 planes next to each other, and then kind of drop pixels of smoke behind them to spell out letters, which almost feels like cheating and is presumably way more expensive than hiring one person. But they can just kind of put a whole message across the sky just by flying past.
When are you hiring someone to do that, or have you already hired someone to do that? I feel like that's something you would have done already.
I mean, you're not wrong, and that... Oh, I need to go... Thank you, Mary. That is an idea for a video.
You're welcome. You can have that one for free.
You need to be in one of the planes, though.
Yeah, can I come be part of it?
Tom, if you could skywrite anything over London tomorrow, what would you write?
Wow, I feel like I should have an answer for that, and I really don't. The devil on my shoulder is something like run, just as a general threat to cause chaos. I feel like that's the opposite of writing "Love God" in the sky. That's. Skywriting is currently illegal in the UK. There is a consultation going at the moment. My producer has sent me a note. They are wondering if it could be legal in the UK. But right now, the answer to what do I want to write over London is nothing, because I'd be arrested. The last big question of the day then comes from Brady. What do you have?
All right. What did Ronald Reagan do in 1939 that caused his own life to be saved in 1981? Let me say that again, just so the gravity hits home. What did Ronald Reagan do in 1939 that caused his own life to be saved in 1981?
So in 81, was he the president then? I can't remember my president.
He was.
Okay.
And I believe 81 is when there was an assassination attempt on his life. A guy tried to shoot, or a guy did shoot him, and he had to be rushed to emergency surgery. So he did something.
So did something happen? So it was 39 that something happened to him.
He did something.
He did something. Was it something internal that then blocked something? That's probably a bit weird.
Yeah. Like, my first thought is, like, did he start wearing something in 39 that then he was wearing when he got shot? It blocked a bullet?
The movie version would be he joined the military, got some dog tags, and they magically deflected the bullet. But
yes.
Exactly.
I mean, 1939 in America, he wouldn't have been going to war then.
No.
Did he give up smoking or something that then saved his life later?
Or took up smoking.
Or took up smoking that saved his
The
life.
cigarette case deflected the bullet. Sorry, I'm getting stuck on deflected the bullet here, which didn't happen. He got shot.
Yeah. I know that the famous story from when he went into surgery is he was lucid enough to say to the surgeons who were about to operate on him, "I hope you all are Republicans." But the smoking thing is interesting. Like, maybe, like, if he stopped smoking, maybe, I don't know where he got shot. Maybe the bullet hit one of his lungs, but you only need one, so maybe that helped him survive.
Did he agree to be an organ donor in 1939, and then not an organ donor, but recipient of organs? Or
I don't think you have to elect to be an organ recipient.
In 39, that wouldn't have been a thing. I was thinking, like, did he have a kidney removed and then there was a hole where...
Yeah.
Like, but I don't think surgery in 39 was that good.
You guys are doing great work, and I love your work, but
we're wrong.
I think you're going down the wrong road.
All right.
Okay.
Let me tell you, there's a third party involved here.
Oh.
There's another person is involved.
Was Reagan in the military?
Maybe you need to think about what Ronald Reagan was doing in 1939, and it wasn't in the military.
Yeah, if he was already an actor. Maybe he started acting in the 30s. But I don't know how that would have saved his life in 81 necessarily.
Did his movies inspire someone to become a doctor, and that doctor saved his life, or something like that?
Oh, close.
But he was acting. I don't know how old Reagan was. So
he was acting.
He was acting in 39. That feels.
I mean, Tom, you were impossibly close, Tom.
I'm trying to work out the dates, and it just occurred to me. Yes, of course, Reagan was in Hollywood in 39, but that just seems almost too long ago for that.
But he inspired someone that then came to his rescue later on in his life.
The Secret Service agent?
So maybe he didn't inspire a doctor.
Oh God, I think Tom's mumbled something key.
The Secret Service agent who, I mean, clearly didn't jump in front of
Attacked the shooter.
He indeed, you are correct, Tom. He inspired the Secret Service agent who saved his life. So, do you want to guess how he inspired him?
Was it through a movie he played a Secret Service agent?
It was through the movie.
Is this the football movie with the Gipper, where Reagan is like...
It wasn't a football movie. It was it was a much more direct line. He starred in a movie called Code of the Secret Service.
Oh, wow!
That apparently was a pretty terrible movie, but it inspired a chap named Jerry Parr to join the Secret Service, and Jerry Parr was the agent that played the crucial role in saving Ronald Reagan's life. So, assassinations and attempted assassinations of US presidents is actually a bit of a specialist subject of mine. So
most dangerous job in the world, isn't it? By like percentage.
I found this question completely fascinating. Obviously, Parr was the agent who pushed Reagan into the limousine on March 30, 1981, when John Hinckley fired the shots at the president. And Parr's quick thinking was credited with saving his life. In fact, he probably did save his life, but in fact, it was when he got pushed into the limo that he got hit by the bullet, because the bullet that hit Reagan deflected off the car into the limousine and hit him. But if he hadn't been pushed by Parr, he probably would have been hit much more directly. But the other thing that's interesting is then they didn't actually think Reagan had been shot, and they were driving him back to the White House, and then he started bringing up some frothy blood, and it was Parr again who said, "Guys, we can't take him to the White House, we need to take him to a hospital." And that's even more credited with saving Reagan's life. So Parr kind of saved his life twice by pushing him out of the way and by making the call to go to the hospital. And another thing that I just found out today that I found bizarrely interesting was famously Hinckley was trying to assassinate Reagan because he wanted to get the attention of Jodie Foster, the actress, who he was infatuated with, and he thought doing something that grand would, get her attention, which is obviously pretty misguided. But I was reading about what Parr did later in life after he was a Secret Service agent, and he became a Christian pastor, but he also was an advisor on 2 Hollywood films, Line of Fire, which is about Secret Service agents, and bizarrely, Contact, which stars Jodie Foster. So he's the one that got to meet Jodie Foster.
Oh my God. Poor Jodie Foster.
And you know what John Hinckley is up to now, I assume.
Still in jail, I assume.
Did he get out recently? He got out, didn't he?
He's out. He's a musician with a YouTube channel, so he has a lot in common with half of this panel, or 3/4 of this panel.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. He's now a musician. He does I think country music.
Wow. Last question of the day then. This is the one I asked to the audience just at the start. The quick question. What's the link between a gallon of water and Jane Austen? And this is a very British question. And honestly, I'm slightly angry about this question. So I'm just going to go around the panel and see if we can work this out very quickly. What's the link between a gallon of water and Jane Austen?
I'm gonna guess that she was the first person to use it in writing, to write about
a gallon of water.
Obviously not.
So obviously not. How dare you?
Disdain on
How
Tom's face.
dare
sorry.
you?
It was more that I couldn't think of anything to reply to that. Sorry, Greg. Do you want to give me that again? I'll be nicer.
No. I want your natural reaction.
So she did she? Well, you're saying she was the first person to write it. Was it an actual measurement at that point?
I mean, this is from long after she died. You also think this was Charles Dickens and Florence Nightingale. Eric, good luck. This is an aggressively British question.
Thank you for not coming to me first. That's all I gotta say. No, I am completely stumped by this. I have no idea.
Aggressively British. Oh, I like that. That's going to be my new band name.
You know what? I'm just going to tell you the answer and see if you can work it out. The answer is £10.
Okay. So they've all been on the £10 note?
A gallon of water hasn't been on the £10 note. Jane Austen has. So has Charles Dickens and Florence Nightingale.
Yeah.
what if one of you produced a 10-pound note now and dumped a gallon of water on it? Then I think we'd be covered. They would both be on the 10-pound note.
Well, how much does a gallon of water weigh? Does that weigh 10 pounds?
Almost exactly 10 pounds. There we go, Brady. That's the link.
Oh, now I get a smile out of you.
Yeah, I got this question. I'm like, this is going to make everyone angry, and apparently it's mostly just me. Yes, a gallon of water weighs 10 pounds. Jane Austen is on the 10-pound note. I'm sorry. Thank you very, very much to our panel. Eric, tell us what's going on in your life right now. What are you up to?
Yeah, I'm the host of a podcast called Follow Friday. It's currently on hiatus, but you can find it at followfridaypodcast.com. And there is an episode where I interview Mr. Tom Scott from January 2022. And other than that, you can follow me on Twitter and Letterboxd at HeyHeyESJ.
Mary, what's going on with you?
As always, I'm making YouTube videos on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/MarySpender, but I'm also starting to make live appearances again. So if you want to see me in real life, maryspender.com/tour.
And Brady, plug your stuff.
I'm making a ridiculous number of videos and podcasts. If you go to bradyharronblog.com, there's links there and you'll see all the what's going on, the latest stuff. Watch as many or as few as you like.
That's the most low-key sales pitch we've ever had in the outro. Thank you, Brady.
Is it when you start making so much content that you just end up cancelling yourself out because you're just making too much and then...
Yeah. Just make sure you watch my stuff before you watch all that Hinkley rubbish.
Thank you very much. That is our show for today. Well done to all of our players. If you want to know more about the show or you want to send in your own questions, it is lateralcast.com. You can find us at lateralcast basically everywhere. And you can watch video highlights at youtube.com/lateralcast. Thank you very much to Eric Johnson.
Thanks for having me.
Mary Spender.
Thank you.
And Brady Harron.
It has been an absolute honour.
I've been Tom Scott. Brady's been sarcastic, and this has been Lateral. Thank you very much. Why did the comedian Leslie Hope change his name to Bob Hope? The answer to that at the end of the show. My name's Tom Scott, and this is Lateral. Joining us for Lateral this time are a trio the likes of which haven't been seen since the Three Musketeers, or maybe Huey, Dewey and Louie, I'm not sure. We have from Up and Atom, Jade Tam Holmes.
Hi, great to be here.
From the Sci Guys podcast, Corey Will.
Hello.
And also from the Sci Guys podcast, Luke Cudforth.
Hello.
Nothing is predictable with the questions in this game. We're going to be throwing our panelists onto the trampolines of logic and seeing which way they bounce. These scripts are getting increasingly bizarre as time goes on, and I'm kind of here for it. We start with a question from me, as usual, which is... In 1985, it was reported that some flocks of sheep in the town of Blaenau-Ffestiniog in Wales had been quarantined. Without that, millions of pounds worth of infrastructure would have become obsolete. What had they done, and how had they done it? I'll give you that one more time. In 1985, it was reported that some flocks of sheep in Blaenau-Ffestiniog, Wales had been quarantined. Without that safety measure, millions of pounds of infrastructure would have become obsolete. What had they done, and how had they done it?
The question's phrased like the sheep did something. Like what? No, what have they done? So I'm thinking the sheep ate something? Ate something poisonous or...
You're absolutely right. This is on the sheep. This is 100%
This is on the sheep, yeah. Like, what can a sheep do?
I mean, not much. I got to film a video about sheep herding a while back, and it's not much.
So the millions of pounds of infrastructure, that's just general like sheep processing equipment, I would imagine. Like shearing equipment, whatever they use to process mutton, that kind of stuff.
This is like a really far out there thing, but I'm thinking, okay, what if the sheep ate something that had like all termites in them or something, and then you know how termites like eat through walls and stuff like that? That's where I'm connecting like destroying infrastructure and how much a sheep is actually capable of doing.
Can termites survive the gut bacteria of sheep?
Maybe they were like termite eggs.
Termites can survive a lot, but Britain doesn't have them. This is a video I didn't get to film. Britain had them for 25 years in one house, and the government spent 25 years and a lot of money stopping that termite infestation from spreading because we don't have them. They spent an enormous amount, but that was in Devon, not Wales. That's not on my notes. That's just a video I'm annoyed I didn't find out about in time before they got rid of the termites and the house is safe now.
Damn.
So, is Wales terribly relevant?
No, not at all. This is just a lovely
just where
story
you
from
find
Blanalpha
sheep.
Stiniog. Yes. Also, I
Okay,
enjoy
good.
saying the words Blanalpha Stiniog. So,
Understandable.
unfortunately, like there is a lot in there. There is Electric Mountain near Blanalpha Stiniog. There's a big.
Oh yes, with the big water, the dynamo. Yeah, it's
reversible
brilliant.
hydroelectric plant for pump storage. Again, nothing to do with that, unfortunately.
Is that not into Norwich?
It's next to Blanalpha Stiniog.
Oh, very cool.
So we've gathered that all sheep can do is just eat stuff and kind of be there. That's their whole
They can
thing.
poo.
Okay,
That's
so
true.
The causality we've got to figure out is a sheep eats something, and that potentially has the potential to make millions of pounds of equipment obsolete.
It's not about eating things. It's certainly something a sheep did, but they had to quarantine that flock.
Did a sheep make love to something inappropriate?
to infrastructure.
Can a sheep make love?
Oh,
Getting philosophical again, Luke.
thus spake the vegan.
So maybe the sheep got ill. Maybe I feel like the sheep getting ill and being quarantined is too straightforward for this show.
Well, but there's a clear causality as to how a bunch of sheep getting ill could cause a load of equipment to go obsolete. Because if that entire flock of sheep, say there's a few million pounds worth of equipment for like this giant flock of sheep, and if they infected other sheep, then that would mean all the sheep have it, which would make all their meat unusable, maybe make all their wool unusable, which would mean that all the equipment that's used to kill them and take their wool is also then obsolete until they can replace all of the sheep.
Yeah, we are. When I say millions of pounds of infrastructure would become obsolete, that is the cost for the whole country.
Country. Did they pee in the water or something?
Not for this one. That's, I mean, a lot. Presumably, that's kind of what sheep do.
Is it maybe something? I feel like quarantined is maybe a red herring here. Maybe they were just cordoned off. Maybe they were blocking some kind of road or railway or something.
They had to be prevented from meeting any other flocks of sheep.
To stop them from telling them about how they can block roads, obviously. No.
Well, you say that.
I know. Hang on. Wasn't there a thing about sheep, like learning to roll over cattle grids or something along those lines?
Yes. Yes.
And there are millions of pounds worth of cattle grids, and if any other sheep saw those sheep rolling over cattle grids, then those cattle grids would be obsolete.
All cattle grids would be obsolete. You would have to invent a whole new way of keeping sheep in and cars across. Yes, the flock of sheep had learned to roll across the cattle grid to get to places they weren't supposed to be. And
Wow, that's
amazing.
incredible.
And they would have taught that to other sheep, so they had to be quarantined to stop the knowledge spreading.
The meme.
Which increasingly feels like an argument for being vegan. I've got to be honest, Luke, you are.
Yeah. Imagine if we just let sheep talk to each other.
They're trying to evolve, and we're not letting them.
Yeah.
There was another one. I mean, we don't have bonus points here, but 1997, a group of sheep in Hampshire came up with a completely different technique for getting across cattle grids. So, other than the rolling, put yourself in the mind of a sheep. How else might they have done it?
Stack on top of each other.
Stepping on each individual one surely is the most obvious way, or getting into a car.
Oh, hold on. 1997? Is that not when Babe came out? Wait, hold on. No, this isn't about films. This is about real life.
Make friends with a talking pig, and then the pig will help you.
You said something a moment ago, Corey.
I said stack on top of each other. Did they do that?
One sheep
they
laid
actually-
down on the grid and the others used them as a bridge, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, they're so smart.
You're kidding.
Goodness me.
I have to add that this is all reportedly. We've clearly seen the news article. How much of this is farmers' exaggeration and everything? But with two separate incidents in the news, something like this has definitely happened, I think, at least once.
Out of interest, Tom, when you say that one sheep laid down and the others walked on top of it, is that one incredibly altruistic sheep, or did the sheep sort of select the weakest sheep and sort of shove it onto the cattle
I bet
grid?
they bullied the sheep.
Or was it one sheep that got stuck in the cattle grid and all the others were like, there is a bridge here now? Good luck, mate, we're off.
I feel like we should be letting these sheep go free. They're clearly smart enough to figure it out. Let them go.
We're stunting their growth.
So yes, in 1985, some sheep in Blanfestiniog in Wales were quarantined because they had learned to roll across cattle grids. We go now to one of our guests for a question. We're going to start with Luke this time. What have you got for us?
All right, so away from sheep and onto drugs. Hydrocodone is an opioid that is approximately...
Sorry. Away from sheep and onto drugs is like
Yeah.
the autobiography of a farmer who just went down to London and...
It all got too much. Away from sheep, onto drugs. Hydrocodone is an opioid that is approximately 6 times stronger than another common opioid. Who knows their opioids? What is the more common name for hydrocodone?
I'm gonna guess codeine.
Are you?
This sounds like I'm in a police interrogation, but I don't know much about opioids. Your Honour?
Okay.
Me either.
Sure you don't.
I think I might be way off, but I know there's a difference between opioids and opiates. And are opioids not the ones that are just chemically similar in terms of shape?
Well, a very interesting satellite fact that's nothing to do with the question. As in, that's not going to get you anywhere. That line of questioning will get you nowhere. Sorry, that sounded really rude. That wasn't meant to...
I was so shocked and insulted for a moment.
Sorry. I'm pushing you back on the right path with a helpful scoop of rudeness there. My apologies.
No, opioids are definitely... I've heard the phrase opioid epidemic about the US's problem with that for a long time. So I think are they a much wider class than I thought? Because I thought opioids were just the painkillers that people easily get addicted to, but I'm not sure that's right.
Okay, I'm just throwing this out. It might have something to do with poppy seeds. Are poppy seeds not, are they not related?
Yeah, if you eat enough poppy seeds, you do test positive on a drug test for opioids.
Sounds like an excuse.
One you're very used to using, Luke, I'm sure.
Your Honour, again.
I thought you didn't know much about opioids, Tom.
I don't, but Trace Dominguez did an entire guest video for my channel on this, and he ate a load of poppy seed bagels and poppy seeds and took a test and tested positive. And as a control, also
That's his
tested
story
negative.
anyway.
Yeah, also tested negative beforehand. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's Hydro's water. Codone is, I don't know. I'm looking at the science people here because it ain't me.
I don't think either of us are chemists, so not a clue.
No, I scored the worst in organic chemistry in my whole degree, actually.
Luke, could you please rephrase this as a physics question?
I'll give you a little nudge here, which is that you're going down the wrong route in terms of sort of wondering about your knowledge about different types of drugs. What you want to go down try going down the route of etymology.
Hydrocodone.
Hydro, so water. Code.
Water. It's annoying that it's 6 times stronger because I'm tempted just to answer with hydrocode 6 instead of hydrocode 1, but that doesn't work this way round.
Do you know any other painkillers? Any other opiate painkillers?
Is morphine opioid?
I
think ibuprofen might be.
No, ibuprofen's an anti-inflammatory.
Okay.
Yeah, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory.
So codeine is the one that is... And cocodamol, I know as well, but I think that might just be a combination of things.
You're going down the right path there, Tom.
Okay.
I will say that this is a tough one. The answer I'd actually never heard. Well, I've only ever heard the actual name for this drug in American TV shows. I've never heard it because I've never had a prescription for this thing. But I've heard it said in American TV shows. If that helps.
Oh, so Americans tend to only use brand names, so they'll say Tylenol and whatnot instead of ibuprofen or paracetamol. So maybe we're looking for a brand name of the drug, right?
Yes, but the brand name is also derivable from the information I've given you to a certain extent.
Hydrocodone, 6 times stronger. Okay, so it's got to have either hex or hexa or something like that in it, or what other abbreviations for 6 is there?
That's a great question.
You can have sex, surely.
I see. I didn't want to say that, but yeah, that's also a valid abbreviation. But
Tom, you're going down a fantastic route with the idea of alternative ways to represent the number 6.
Roman numeral. Oh my God! It's Vicodin.
Yes. Oh, could you explain why, Tom? Why? How did you get there?
Because Roman numerals for 6 are VI.
Brilliant.
And it's VI coded, Vicodin. Oh my.
Five times codeine.
Angry about that question.
Yeah,
That's so good.
It's brilliant.
That's incredible.
That's great lateral thinking right there.
Jade's just sitting back in a chair, equally frustrated at that. That's
So that is correct. Basically, Vicodin is 6 times stronger than codeine. So the brand name Vicodin is derived from 6 times stronger than codeine.
The next question is from me. Here we go. At 13.557 seconds, a Danish woman holds a particular Guinness World Record for running the 100 metres. She is nearly half a second quicker than the male holder for the same record. What's the record? I'll say that again. At 13.557 seconds, a Danish woman holds a particular Guinness World Record for running a 100-metre race. She is nearly half a second quicker than the male holder for the same record. What is that record?
I think that her being a woman and being faster than the man is going to be relevant, because usually you'd expect to see men be quicker in these kinds of races. So maybe, and here I'm just gonna be sexist here, maybe it's something that women are perhaps more used to doing.
This is from 2015. It is 100% traditional stereotype we're running off here.
Was she pushing a pram?
See, the trouble is that what we've set up with this question is a series of stereotypes.
Okay, so we need some stereotypes of women. Anyone?
Let's see.
Maybe it's got something to do with... Okay, so when we think of differences between men and women in culture and stereotypes and whatnot, there's different areas, right? So it could be pushing a pram, it could be wearing different clothes, it could be... Cooking.
Like something frying an omelette or something.
Like an egg and spoon race whilst wearing a skirt and carrying a baby.
Maybe an egg and spoon. Let's see.
Has it got to do with clothing?
Yeah, it absolutely has. You're gonna ace this question. You're so nearly there. So it's 13.557 seconds. I don't need to be that precise, but bear in mind 100 meters for fastest people in the world. You're talking 9 or 10.
If I'm right, then this is insane. If I could give it a guess. Did she do it in high heels?
High heels.
Yes.
Of course.
Absolutely right.
Yes.
Wow. That is incredible.
Brilliant.
Goodness me.
Wow, that was so fast.
That's actually interesting that the woman still did it better, because I would have thought that wouldn't have had that big an impact,
We're going to get some fast drag queens on this.
No, it's
For
true.
a drag race, right?
Hey! That's a good name for a TV show.
Tom Scott's Drag Race.
Now that is a channel I would watch.
Oh, yeah.
This is Maiken Sischlau from Denmark, 13.55 seconds in 2015. Andre Ortolf from Germany set the best male time, 14.02 seconds in 2019. I feel like there's still a lot of improvement to be had there. It's just there aren't many people doing the training for it.
Yeah, so these were people that trained specifically for this race. They weren't like runners that then just put on high heels.
I actually don't know. It might be a little bit of both here. I feel like this is going to be a runner.
I think it would make a difference. Because if you just took a bunch of runners and put them in high heels and they weren't used to it, like obviously the women would be better. But if they actually trained for it and the men got used to wearing high heels, you know.
That's got to hurt though, surely. I assume that there are all sorts of rules on how high the heels have to be. But you're basically constantly running downhill, I guess.
You're going to have very strong calves and ankles.
You got to have strong. It's actually not as hard as it maybe looks.
It's kind of like running on your toes, right? It's just you don't want to put your heel down too much because you're going to break that.
You can put the heel down. Like if they were strong heels, I think running on your toes would kind of suck.
I just feel like it's incredibly fast, right? That's incredibly fast.
I couldn't run 100 meters in any shoes in 100 seconds.
In 100 seconds.
Sorry, 14 seconds. Sorry. I think I could just about make it in 100 seconds, even in high heels, actually. Go on, let me say that.
I mean, we've just got a bet there, Luke.
Okay, I'll happily take those odds.
So I have just had a note through from our producer with pictures here, and this is on a full running track, wearing what look like sort of regular professional office high heels. We're not talking like teetering stilettos here, but there's a decent heel on them. I have no idea how difficult that is to go running. I've never tried it, but I would not like to.
I will say that running in high heels, I think, is no more silly than hurdles. You know, we have sports, and then we add additional encumbrance to those sports. And high heels is just the same as hurdles to me, right?
What about 100 meters over hurdles in high heels? Wow, that's an Olympic sport I want to watch.
Yes. You know they have breakdancing in the Olympic sports now, so I don't feel like that's too far off.
Well, if we start training, we can all get gold in this, guys.
What a little breakdance team in high heels. That's the four of us.
Oh yeah.
It is a very odd restriction. You're right. Now you mention it, that hurdles is a really strange event. Now you mention it.
It's odd, right? It's weird. It's weird that we do that.
It's fine. We'll have a full pentathlon in high heels.
That's what comes of this podcast.
They are actually currently planning on changing the pentathlon events. They're going to remove horse riding from it, and they're currently testing events for what the replacement is, because logistically it's extremely difficult, and it means that pentathlon is only open to people who can afford to learn to ride a horse. And for both that reason and animal rights and logistics, they're on the verge of changing it. They're thinking of replacing it with like the obstacle course from Ninja Warrior.
Oh my lord. My brain went straight to using the Boston Dynamics robots in place of horses. I feel like that would be far more interesting to watch.
So they're just like piggybacking people around.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of the problems they have with all the horse riding events at the Olympics, is that the horses are meant to all be the same. So like they need to do a procurement process years in advance to find 20 identically performing horses and pair them with riders. Like, yeah, there's a reason they're doing Ninja Warrior courses instead.
The fact that it's harder to find horses than it is to find Olympic athletes is fantastic.
Yes, you're absolutely right. The world record for running 100 meters in high heels is currently half a second faster for a woman than a man. But I imagine that at some point, someone in this podcast is going to try and challenge that.
I know a couple of drag queens. We can set them on it.
Next question, we are going to go to Curry for this one. Curry, what have you got for us?
At Coors Field Baseball Stadium, most of the seats are dark green. However, the seats in the 20th row of the upper deck are purple. What does this indicate? And I'll give it to you again. At Coors Field Baseball Stadium, most of the seats are dark green. However, the seats in the 20th row of the upper deck are purple. What does this indicate?
Could you tell me the name of the stadium? Coors Field.
Coors Field. So, sorry, this is my accent coming through. Coors Field.
I'm just wondering if this has anything to do with Coors Light, the beer.
I think so, yeah. I think they own the stadium. That's how it works in the US, right?
So there's something relating to beer there. Or like...
It's an American sports question and a beer question. I am in trouble here.
Is it something to do with, like, does it look almost like the dividing line between, like, beer and head?
I love that. But no, not at all.
Does the purple have something to do with royalty? Because I know that purple used to represent royalty.
It's not necessarily about the colors. So it could be any color. It doesn't need to be dark green or purple. It could be literally any color. The important part is that the colors are different.
But was it baseball? Was that the sport?
Yeah, it is baseball. Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking something to do with like the height of the ball.
Ooh. I'm thinking maybe the height of the stadium, like you actually can't get the ball out, you can't get a home run, so if it lands above that line, that's a home run.
Oh, yeah, because I was going to try and be an expert on baseball. I've never seen baseball. It's like cricket, but worse.
Sorry, not home run, like an out of the park? Is that a different thing in
No,
baseball?
that's a home run. Home run is when it goes out of the park and you cannot... No, I think...
I thought, no, a home run is just when you complete the diamond.
Okay, so an out of the park. It's an out of the park if it's above that line.
Yeah, sorry, you can have an inside the park home run. I've definitely heard that phrase.
Oh, okay.
So a home run is just when you complete the diamond. And then I guess if you hit it out of the park, that's just like an automatic home run.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
It's
that's
not-
my theory, is that this stadium is in some way built to stop the ball leaving if you get an out of the park, because it can damage property and stuff like that. So they've sort of put a line that means if you get it above this thing, if it lands above this thing, almost like in cricket, where you get it out of the boundary, then that is an out of the park equivalent.
I presume at some point people come back to their cars in the parking lot afterwards and just
Yeah.
there's a dent and a baseball sat there. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, does my insurance pay it? No, of course
Well,
not.
there were loads of problems in cricket where they hit the ball out of the stadium and then it smashed stuff. And then I think the cricket ground became liable for that. So they installed nets to try and stop it happening.
So you started off on the right track, and then you started talking about baseball, which I loved, but isn't necessarily super relevant.
To this question about baseball.
To baseball.
So it's not really a baseball question, it's a stadium question.
Exactly.
But it's still about the limitations of stadiums.
No, not at all. So you started off talking about the height of the line, and it's not got anything to do with hitting baseballs out.
American stadiums get replaced fairly often, like in the big leagues. Like they'll just build a new one because the old one's got a bit old and get some tax money for it. So is this like the height of the old stadium that used to be there, and it's like a ceremonial line that goes round? That means, yeah, you'd have knocked out the park in the old stadium, but these days, no, you've just been someone in the upper decks.
So I have a super mundane suggestion. Is it just like so the hot dog people know what their turf is?
Oh man, there's just a vicious gang of upper deck hot dog sellers that do not want people messing on their territory. I love that.
They're in a war with each other.
Yeah, and one of them's got the high ground.
Oh God, I wish that was the answer. I wish that was the answer.
One of them's just got slingshots with hot dogs. Just.
So to sort of direct you a little bit more, it is very specific to this one stadium, in that if it was a stadium anywhere else in the country, this line wouldn't be as important.
Because I imagine this was a line that went all the way round. But maybe it's one of those stadiums that's bigger on one side, and like this is a line that crosses, like it's the equator. No, this is US, right?
It is the US, yeah.
So this is like the state line happens to go through here, and once you're on the other side of that line, you're under like different drinking laws or something like that. Like this stadium's in California, except for this bit which is in Oregon, so you got to stop drinking at 10 p.m. I don't know.
So you were on the right track with it being particular to that state, and earlier when you were talking about the height, you were on the right track as well.
And then I went completely the wrong way. Okay.
Then you just went off.
Is it that in this particular state, it is illegal to drink at altitude, and that altitude just happens to be roughly the height of the 20th row in the top deck?
Luke, you are so close, but you're off in your framing, if that helps.
How could that be?
Is it like you're too high up, so you can't drink because it's dangerous in some way?
It's got nothing to do with drinking, but you're so incredibly close. I feel like if I were to tell you, do you know what state this is in?
No.
Hang on, is this Colorado?
It is definitely Colorado, yes.
This is... You are 1 mile above sea level, isn't it?
That is it. Yes, exactly. That line denotes being 1 mile above sea level because Denver
Is the mile-high city.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Denver is almost 1 mile above sea level in a lot of places, and that's going to be the point where you are exactly 1 mile above the arbitrary marker on the geoid that is sea level.
Yeah, exactly. And so the Colorado Rockies used to share the Mile High Stadium with the Denver Broncos, the NFL team. And then they moved to Coors Field, but they've got that line to show where you are when you're sort of a mile above sea level.
The next question's from me. Here we go. A gang robbed a van full of different bottles of spirits that were destined for use in pubs. Why did they find it very difficult to sell on the illicit goods without raising suspicions? I'll give you that again. A gang robbed a van of different bottles of spirits that were destined for use in pubs. Why did they find it very difficult to sell on the illicit goods without raising suspicions?
So my mind hops immediately to the fact that when I worked in some bars and pubs, the bottles of spirits that they had were giant sometimes. Like bigger than you could buy in a shop. So maybe it's got to do with the specifics of spirits that are sold to bars?
My mind jumped to it as a play on words. It's actually bottles of ghosts.
My mind said that as well. But then when they were like, to sell to bars, I was like, I don't think bars are going to buy ghosts.
Haunted bars. It's a tourist attraction.
I now regret having that clarification in the question, because frankly, we got a whole riff on bottled up spirits being sold to make sure your pub is haunted here. Like that's a great plot for a sitcom.
Yeah, Jade, haunted pubs are actually really big in the UK. This is another sort of UK-focused question.
Yeah.
So much I don't know.
It's quite a xenophobic podcast, this, isn't it?
You just kind of go online these days. You know, you just go to what's the opposite of Ghostbusters? Ghost supplies, and they just kind of just drop ship you a few bottles. Now you uncork them, you get a couple of spirits in the bathroom, you know, one behind the bar.
Yeah, and all the cheap bars have got ghouls, just not the same. Doesn't look the same, you know.
Weatherspoons just have identical ghosts behind every bar that just keep banging on about how Brexit's a good thing. It's just that officially crossed the 2 British threshold. Sorry about that. No, I don't know why I need to clarify this, but we are talking about alcohol here.
Thank you for the clarification.
So tell us more about your bar experience, Corey. I feel like you hold the keys here.
Yeah, so, I mean, Luke has worked in a bar as well, so he's got a lot of experience too.
Okay.
As a ghost, though, as a ghost.
I feel like I can't let that go, Corey. I have to explain that. Corey is referencing the fact that I once did a YouTube sponsorship that required me to work in a bar, and so I technically worked in a bar for 1 day.
You actually worked, like got a job in the bar?
I worked. I delivered drinks and food and took orders, but I actually was so bad at pulling pints that I bought all of the pints that I poured because I felt so bad, so I bought them for them.
Did the management and patrons know you were doing this?
The manager did, yeah.
Wait, the patrons didn't? The patrons were just like, this is
The
some
patrons
guy?
didn't until I told them, because I was doing everything wrong, so I told them.
The patrons were like, why does this guy suck so much? And then you like had to tell them.
Exactly. So yeah, Corey, you're right. I have just as much experience as you, and so we're going to get this question together.
Yeah, I mean, so working in bars, I guess, the only specific thing I can think of is the size of the spirit bottles. They have bigger spirit bottles in bars, and I feel like there must be a limit on the ones that you're allowed to sell. Oh my gosh, bars, if you want to get stock for a bar, you can only you can buy it from these big sort of stock depots that you can only get into if you have a business that has a license to sell alcohol. So maybe it's related to that.
In this case, they were trying to fence them illegally, so that's less of an issue.
Is it that the spirit bottles that they use at bars have that little weird attachment on it that like does the 25 milliliter deposit? And that's a specific attachment, and nobody who doesn't already own a bar will have that attachment, so they don't want to buy your alcohol.
You can get those at home?
Yeah, you can spot the person who hasn't worked in a bar, because those do not come with a bottle.
No, I know, but you have to attach them, I mean. You'd have to attach it, and if you don't have it, you don't want to buy the alcohol.
Optics, they're called.
Mm-hmm. You can get them at home. I know, because my grandparents were alcoholics. No, I shouldn't put that in. Sorry.
That's hilarious. No, that's brilliant.
We're learning a lot about each other here. Is it something to do with the brand of the alcohol? Was it a very rare brand?
This would actually be the other way around. This would only apply to the really common kind of, what are they called? House spirits. Like the fancy ones probably wouldn't have this problem.
Yeah, so then, there's Red Star vodka or something that I only ever see in bars and you can't buy anywhere else. Is it?
You can get, there's certain brands like that, but in this case, these are cheap supermarket brands. These are the kind of things where if someone pulls up in a van and goes, these have fallen off the back of the lorry, they're entirely genuine, there might be some reason to be skeptical of them.
Oh.
Fine for bars, bit confusing for people.
So we've mentioned size and brand, but
is there concentration involved? Like the concentration.
It's not like the
alcohol?
post-mix syrup. They don't put it up to the optic and it drops out one drop of pure flavoured alcohol and a load of water. That would be Coke freestyle machines just with booze. Actually, that's a really good. Wow. Sorry.
That saves on shipping costs.
I mean, more like that's a thing you'd see built in a bar. Really, you'd see a Coke freestyle machine that someone's also put a booze through.
Was it that they had a hard time selling it to bars or to people?
To people. Bars would have been fine with this. These would have fit right in the bar, but they wouldn't have at home.
Maybe it's the container that they were in.
You've actually already touched on why with the optics. There's something that bars do that you don't do at
Oh
home.
my gosh, I just realized. Because they go into the optics, the labels are the other way around so that they're the right side up when you've got them in the optics.
Absolutely right. I was hoping the one person who has properly worked in a bar would remember that at some point. Yes, spot on. The labels were upside down. So if you try to go into your local dodgy wherever you sell stuff, I don't know, I'm not a criminal, and go, would you like to buy some of these? They're going to go, they're fake. You got the labels on upside down, and that is how the story goes.
Brilliant.
The bottles of spirits used in pubs, at least for the cheap brands, generally have the label upside down. Our last guest question comes from Jade. Jade, over to you.
Okay, the question is, if it rises by a few cents, it can get out of control within milliseconds. If it reaches $1, it's a disaster. What is it? I'll give you it again. If it rises by a few cents, it can get out of control within milliseconds. If it reaches $1, it's a disaster. What is it?
So my first thought was some kind of hyper-fast stock trading thing. It's like that flash crash where some computer tripped the thing and just all the stock market suddenly crashed. But this is going up, not down.
Reaches $1. So the cost of something being $1, because that's already more than, say, petrol. So, what could it be?
It could be like a transaction fee type of thing, or something that's meant to be it's meant to be pegged to $1 or something like that.
Maybe it's okay, so it must be proportionally related to something else, because if something reaches, say, $1, $1 isn't very much, but $1 per X amount of something would be a lot, right?
It's the euro a few weeks ago.
Yes, Luke, date this podcast.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It's the euro a few months ago. It's the euro a few years ago.
Thank you. We'll just edit the right bit in at whichever moment. If you can give us decades and centuries and millennia,
It's the euro. That one time the euro did that thing.
The minute you said rises by a few, I was thinking it's a sea level or something like that, but it's cents and dollars. I can't think of anything other than currency that's in cents and dollars.
Can it go above $1? Is that possible?
I mean, apparently, but then it's a disaster.
Well, but as it reaches $1, it's a disaster. Can it go above $1?
It has reached $1 on a number of occasions in different parts of the world.
Out of control within milliseconds. So for a minute, I was thinking like the expected return on a lottery or something like that. So, but that's not a disaster. That's great for the lottery and the winner. Like there's a few times in history when lotteries have had positive expected value. So you could, like, if you buy a ticket, statistically you're likely to win more than that ticket cost. But it's really rare, and the only people who can properly exploit that are already rich. So that's not a disaster then. Like if that goes over $1, that's great for the punters and it's great for the lottery because they're still making money.
I think it's probably. I think I might have it. It's entirely unrelated to what you were just saying, Tom.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's fine. You know what? I'm going to claim that some word in that monologue about lotteries sparked an idea in your head. Sorry, go for it.
Maybe it's got to do with the cost of production of money, right? Because if the cost of producing $1 goes over $1, then that's completely out of control. And in some countries, that must have happened. Like the penny right now in the US costs more than a penny to make. Is it anything along those lines, maybe?
Yes, they changed the makeup of the UK one, didn't they, as well, to make sure that wasn't possible. But I don't see that getting out of control within milliseconds.
I think I'm going to give you guys a hint. It's going to completely turn everything upside down. It has nothing to do with money.
Right. So what else gets measured in cents and dollars?
Oh, hold on. Are you saying dollars or doll hairs? Which one of those two? Is it?
Dollars. 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 Good question, though.
What else can get measured in cents? Like pitch of music can get measured in cents?
But not in dollars.
Not in dollars. That goes into tones and semitones. So...
Is it colloquial then, maybe?
No.
Using cents and dollars? No?
Goes up by a few cents.
I kind of feel like this one's the kind of thing that if you don't know it, I don't know how you would come to know it.
It's out of control within milliseconds, which implies to me that it's either some, like, computer thing, or it's some complicated physics thing. Like, this is a chain reaction or something like that, that if it goes, like, if it starts spiking a little, it...
Yeah.
But I don't think nuclear reactions are measured in cents.
Something like with the LHC, like the LHC.
Does this have to do with nuclear physics?
Yes.
No, the Large Hadron Collider.
Not exactly the Large Hadron Collider.
Is this to do with nuclear meltdowns?
Yes.
Because there's been some in some different countries, and...
Yes, that's it exactly. And dollars and cents are the units of reactivity.
Oh. I definitely knew that then. I definitely knew that at some point in my life.
Which is like, why would they name units of reactivity dollars and cents? That just seems like they're trying to be confusing.
Right.
For this podcast, exactly. That's the only reason someone thought, you know what? A podcast a few years from now is going to need this.
What is reactivity? Is that how much the reactor is like going? All I remember is that like you put control rods in to dampen the reaction, and so is it how much that reaction is growing, or how much that reaction is self-sustaining? I don't know.
A state called prompt criticality is reached if the reactivity level reaches $1, which means that rate at which fission occurs increases exponentially, releasing more prompt neutrons, which trigger more reactions, and so on.
So $1 is runaway chain reaction,
right?
And 0 is everything steady. Who named that dollar? Like, it's
right? They should not have been in charge.
Probably an American.
Yeah, I feel like American scientists specifically enjoy being needlessly confusing.
And patriotic.
I've just had a note through to say that his name is Louis Slotter, and he is a very famous physicist.
Physicists do like to use the same names and like symbols to rename various things. It's very annoying when you're doing a physics degree.
Just another reason not to do a physics degree. No education.
Reactivity is measured in dollars and cents. 0 cents is stable, and when you get to $1, that's just a crazy reaction and you want to get out of there.
So one last order of business. At the very start of the show, I asked the audience why Leslie Hope, the comedian, changed his name to the much more famous Bob Hope. Just before I give him the answer, any ideas from the panel?
Bob Hope's much more famous.
Is it that Leslie Hope was already famous? Is this like a Screen Actors Guild kind of situation? Where you can only have one name?
It's very much about the name. And I don't think any comedian would want the name Leslie Hope.
Oh, was there a famous sort of murderer or something at the time called Leslie Hope, like a serial killer?
It's about the name itself.
Oh.
Leslie Hope.
Oh, Les Hope. It shortens to Les Hope.
Which means it would show up in the phone book and in directories as...
Hopeless.
Oh
my
Absolutely right. He changed it.
Amazing.
Or at least so he says. Obviously, it's an anecdote from a comedian, so how much of that is true, I will leave to the viewer's discretion. That is our show for today. Thank you very, very much. Let's start with Luke. Tell us what you've got going on. Where can people find you?
Yes, I host a podcast called Sci Guys with Corey as well. And I've also got my first feature film out called The Drowning of Arthur Braxton. You can find me at Luke Cupforth everywhere.
Corey.
You can find me at Not Corey everywhere, and also, as Luke said, over on Sci Guys at Sci Guys Pod everywhere.
And Jade.
I run a YouTube channel called Up and Adam, and you can find me on YouTube at Up and Adam.
And if you want to know more about this show, you can go to lateralcast.com. We are Lateralcast basically everywhere, and you can catch video highlights at youtube.com/lateralcast. Thank you very much to Jade Tan Holmes.
Thank you, Tom.
To Corey Will.
Thank you, Tom.
To Luke Cutforth.
Thank you very much, Tom.
I don't know what I got a round of thanks instead of goodbyes there, and I'm very grateful. And you know what? We'll leave them in. I will take the praise. My name's Tom Scott. This has been Lateral.
Thank you, Tom.
One weekend, I noticed that there are 4 different days in the week that begin with the letter T. What are they? The answer to that frustrating question at the end of the show. I'm Tom Scott, and this is Lateral.
I'm glad to see that you are all right. It's time you got out of Denver.
As always, I've brought with me an orchestra of 3 people, and we're going to see if they can think their way to making beautiful problem-solving music together. Joining me are, from the Fearless STEM Careers podcast and BBC Earth, How Did They Build That? Hayley Loren.
Hello.
From Corridor Digital, Corridor Crew, and the Corridor Cast, Ren Whiteman.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
And from the MKBHD channel and the Waveform podcast, Marcus Brownlee.
Hello, hello.
Thank you very much for joining me, folks. We are going to go straight into question 1. Our questions are lateral thinking. They're like crabs. They move sideways, and once you crack them, they're quite tasty. Sorry. I love it. I was going to try and say that with a straight face, and I just didn't quite get through it.
You had no hope.
Did you write that? Did you write that one?
Of course I did. I've got our producer wrote that, and I'm sure he's very proud of himself. As always, no prizes, no points. It is just for bragging rights and reputation. So, with the best of luck to you, here's the first question of the day. According to the Stress Management Center in North Carolina, USA, an estimated $700 million of US business was lost on May the 13th, 2005. The situation was 3 times worse in 2009, 2012, and 2015. Why is that? I'll give you that again. According to the Stress Management Center North Carolina, an estimated $700 million of US business was lost on May 13th, 2005. The situation was 3 times worse in 2009, 2012, and 2015. Why is that?
Okay, that happened every 3 years. Was it 3 times worse each successive time? So then 9 times worse and then 27 times worse?
No, just 3 times worse than 2005 in those years.
It was the same May 3rd date on each of those years? Or it was just during that year?
No, it was May 13th, 2005, and then the situation was 3 times worse years later.
So something really good happened every 3 years then, and progressively better. If it was a stress management company that lost money, surely people were very happy. No.
I realise now.
Have I missed this completely?
That is ambiguously phrased. The Stress Management Center does not have nearly $750 million revenue. This is an estimation of the loss to the US economy on May 13th, 2005.
No, so the opposite.
Yes, unfortunately. I would love there to be a stress management company that has that sort of revenue and everyone is just really relaxed.
Yeah.
I guess I've seen stories of like a search engine goes down or something, and then for those 10 hours or however long it was down, nobody could buy things or nobody's ads were working or whatever. But yeah, I'm not sure if that would happen every 3 years specifically.
Because I was thinking, what if it had something to do with like some time-based thing? It can't be leap years because that's every 4 years.
Didn't like there were major crashes and recessions. So there was one in 2009, and then wasn't there like a partial double dip recession in 2012?
I mean, I'd be surprised if these did something that big, but you're right about there being some sort of repeating pattern here.
I wonder if it's... So collectively lost money for the entire country. So they're probably like measuring a bunch of like tiny intangibles like productivity or something like that. Maybe they... Because I think I've seen something about we lose a lot of productivity after... or like we lose a lot of sleep after, say, the clocks change. What's it in May? It's
yes, daylight savings.
Daylight savings, yeah. But that's every year, not every 3 years.
Oh, true.
But the time shifts slightly, I think, every year.
I mean, the problem would have happened in other years as well. It's just it was 3 times worse those years.
Was that because it fell on a Monday or something?
Funny you say that.
That's definitely it.
Oh.
If it falls on a weekday, it's going to hit worse than if it falls on a... Although daylight savings is usually a weekend, no?
Yeah, isn't it always a Sunday? Wait.
One of my issues with this is I'm not sure it lost the US economy, as more moved it. They said it lost. I think it more moved things to other days.
Okay.
I'm going down the path of like of 1 hour lost every year. Or every daylight savings.
It's not daylight savings. That's not May, and it wouldn't have happened 3 more times. But you're right that it is a repeating pattern, and I've left one very important bit of information out of that question.
Gee, thanks.
It would also be the answer to the question, unfortunately.
So is it linked to the people themselves, or is it an external factor that happens every 3 years?
It's an external factor. It is to do with repeating patterns. It's to do with the calendar.
So, the days fall on, or like the days of the week fall on different days of the month.
Leap years?
Every year.
Like every 3 years is a leap year?
But a leap year is every 4 years.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, and this is every 3.
And that's every 3.
This is 2009, 12, and 15.
So this is something that happened once in 2005 and 3 times in those other years. It happened other times as well, but it happened 3 times in those years.
Oh! I thought you were saying it was 3 times worse, not 3 additional.
No,
times. Crazy. I have no idea.
You are so close. You were nearly saying it a moment ago.
May 13th? Oh, is it Friday the 13th?
And that's it! May the 13th, 2005 is Friday the 13th. The Stress Management Center said, well, that costs $700 million because people don't buy stuff, they don't travel, they don't they don't drive the car, they don't go to meetings, they put off things. And 2009, 2012, 2015 all had 3 Friday the 13ths. So, according to the Stress Management Center, that is 3 times worse those years.
That's incredible. I do know that every month that starts on a Sunday has a Friday the 13th. I did not know it happened that much.
Yeah.
Wow.
My wife is a nurse, and she says that on the hospital floor, there's a couple times throughout the year, all of her patients go crazy, and it's whenever there's a full moon or it's Friday the 13th, and it seems completely stupid. Like, I don't believe in that sort of thing, and yet she's like, I don't either. Why do all my patients consistently be crazy on those days?
Yeah, I've heard that from a friend of mine who's in the medical industry as well. It's like something on full moons and Friday the 13th makes a difference.
Is it like a placebo effect, though, where people feel like they're allowed to act more crazy, so they unleash their inner craze?
Yeah, I can believe that.
I'd believe that, yeah.
So yes, the Stress Management Center said that $700 million of US business was lost because of Friday the 13th, and it was 3 times worse those years because there were 3 more Friday the 13th. Now the tables are turned. One of our guests is going to take over as the host. As ever, I do not know the question. I definitely don't know the answer. I'm going to start this time with Hayley. What's your question, please?
Well, I hope you like cars. So, a Californian car bears the registration plate 710ON. What type of car is it and why?
I'm going to do the thing where I go, I've got the answer to this, and I'm going to shut up.
You would know the answer.
No, I'm going to shut up about why and everything. I'm going to let you two handle that because
you probably did some sort of video about this 2.5 years ago, and it's still sticking around in your head.
I'll explain it later. If I explain it more, I will give you the answer. So this one's on you, Marcus and Red.
So license plates usually have more characters than that, unless they're vanity plates. I think usually they're like 8 characters long, not 6. Or 5, I guess, right? It could be some sort of government vehicle. Is it a emergency vehicle? A fire truck?
I do know that there's certain there's certain signifiers. Like in New York, every commercial car, like a taxi or an Uber, starts with O, I think. So like starting with a certain number in California, I don't know exactly what the rules are, but 7-Eleven. Say it again. What was it? 710 ON?
ON, yeah. N for November.
Okay. So I could just, I mean, it just probably stands for something.
Isn't the 710 a highway in California too?
What types of vehicles are there? Motorcycles?
Motorcycles. Dirt bikes.
Vans.
Non-motorized vehicles.
3, 4.
So this is probably some sort of classification about a specific type of vehicle, and I don't know. I feel like that's something I would have to look up. You know, it's like, unless the hint is in the name of the license, or rather, is the license plate name number? Does that actually give us the hint on what type of vehicle it is?
I would say that it's not important in terms of classification. There's important information in all of it, but the 710 specifically, I wouldn't get so hung up on the number.
But it is a 3-digit number.
Are they like the 710th something in California? I don't know. I'm trying to think of what there could be 700 of in California, like school districts or something. There could be 710 golf courses.
Golf courses. There's probably a lot more than 710 fire stations.
Okay, forget the 710 specifically. Let's say. I like what you were. So near the beginning, you said something about how many digits are in a normal number plate and what a shorter number plate might mean as well. So,
because I've seen like those government vehicles that look kind of like a police car, but kind of not, and it says like CA exempt or whatever on it. And
you were exactly right, Ren, that this is a vanity plate. Assuming that I've not completely got some coincidental answer here, you're absolutely right. This was a chosen vanity plate.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you say that before.
Is this a current plate or a historical?
It is a current plate. Yeah, so it's somebody boasting.
So maybe this dude has 700 something somethings starting with O and N. O and N might be the initials of whatever this is.
Yeah.
He has 710 orange nuggets.
Oh, I like that.
Can I give another hint? Although the hint would be like a big hint, maybe.
So, I mean, are we on kind of the right path here in terms of like...
I'm going to come in with a thing here, and there's a reason that I got this immediately. And it's nothing to do with knowledge they already had, and nothing to do with anything like that. It's the fact that I'm holding a pen.
Oh, whoa.
Huh.
And I was taking notes.
Well, you can't take notes with a pen if you don't have hands. This guy might be an amputated, a doctor who does amputations.
I thought that was just a threat. I thought that was just a threat. No, I was just taking notes as the question came out and just sort of got it.
It could help.
Oh, should I draw 7, 1, 0, O, N?
Loon, 7 loon, sloon. N-O...
K?
O-L-K?
N-O-O-L. N-O-O-L-T, maybe?
I know this is primarily audio, but for those of you who are just in audio, I wish you could see the looks on Haley and my faces right now because it's so close. We're so close.
Marquez, we got this.
I'm like drawing it.
We have to get it.
I'm drawing it in front of me. So 7, 1, 0, 0, N. 0, 0, N is obvious, right? 0, O, N is O, O, N. Theoretically. So it's what is a 7, 1? So 7, 1 to me could be a K backwards. I need to write it down. Hold on. Let me open my notes app.
7 out of.
Are you using an iPad to write this down?
Yeah. 7, 1, 0.
That's on brand.
O, N.
You've tried reflecting it and you've tried reading it backwards.
Yep.
Okay, if I go upside down with it, that's N. Upside down is still N. O.
No.
Getting close.
7.
7 would become an L upside down.
Yes.
But the Noile is the 1 an I or an L as well?
Think cars.
Newly married? It's a California car.
You've literally got it. It's Nooil.
What do you have to put in some cars?
No oil? It's a
Yes!
Tesla?
Oh my god! Yes, I've seen this one before so many times. No oil, this is on an electric car. The most cliche of electric car license plate jokes ever, and I couldn't guess it.
I've probably seen this car. That's brutal.
The first thing I did was, the only reason I got that immediately, I would have been flailing around in the dark as well, as I wrote down those, well, that's got all my notes on it, but I wrote down those letters, and my brain just did the inverse, like, oh no, I've got this, that's a pun, so, sorry, folks. The looks on you, I've not seen you that angry, Ren.
I should have gotten it!
You were like so there as well for so long.
Oh man.
I was going to say it earlier because we were talking about vanity plates. There is somebody in California with the MKBHD license plate on their car. I don't know who they are or when they got this plate, but it exists somewhere over there. And it is a Tesla. And I was going to bring that up, but I never said it. But now that would have been even weirder.
That is specifically the answer. It's on a Tesla and it says no oil. Yeah.
Next question is from me. I think Ren is still angry about the last one, so we'll move on. This one is a lot shorter and a lot quicker. Why did some British police forces start giving out free lollipops? Give you that again. Why did some British police forces start giving out free lollipops?
Was this when it was a massive heat wave and it was so hot and 40 degrees and everybody needed ice lollies? I went to the train station to get a train and people just kept handing me ice cream and it was amazing.
No, but I saw both the Americans' brows furrow for a moment when you said it was really hot and 40 degrees.
I know, Celsius.
Yeah, that would be Celsius. Yeah.
No, this is a story from 2011. That one police force tried it, and then a few others rolled this in.
Everyone was being a little too bitter about their lives, so they tried to sweeten it up. It's the only thing I got.
I like that.
Okay, but what is the purpose of a lollipop, though, right? It's a sugary substance someone licks on for 10 minutes and then it's done. Why would they hand those out for free?
Sometimes they have gum in the middle. But maybe not all of them, some of them.
To cheer people up?
It sounds like they're trying to cheer people up, and maybe... So some police forces tried it, and it worked, so some more of them did it. But why were they... I mean, lollipops seems like... I was going to say they're arresting a bunch of kids, and they're like, oh, we kept lollipops in the back of the car. But that's kind of dark.
Back of their white van.
Yeah.
Is it... I always remember when I was young that my mum would always say, you know, stranger danger and never take lollipops off a stranger. So were these police officers pretending not to be police officers and testing whether kids were actually like following them?
It's not that, but I know way back when I was at university, at some point the local, I guess the US translation would be like RAs, the kids whose job it was to keep an eye on the halls of residence, on the dorms, would check people's doors, like knock and see and if they could get into an unattended room, they'd just kind of leave a sticker behind that said, I could have nicked your laptop, or something like that. Unfortunately, not quite that sort of thing. But you're all right in that it was a behaviour type of thing. It was trying to get people to do something.
To shut up.
Well, you say that, Ren. Yeah. Yes. That was the goal. Why would they want that to happen?
This happened in 2011.
Yeah, I mean, it could have happened any time. I'm sure some of them are still doing it.
Some sort of like political speech, perhaps?
Like a pacifier.
Well,
an adult pacifier.
I mean, you're not far away. You've lasered in on this fairly quickly. There's one key element that's missing, which is why would the police be trying to get people to shut up?
With people filming something really important, and then there was a crowd and they were shouting? No.
Was there a noise complaint?
There might well have been, yeah. You got to remember also this is, particularly for the Americans, this is sort of British community support police. So it's not necessarily investigating crime or anything like that. It is trying to quite literally keep the peace.
Was there like a concert and it was too loud for the neighborhood and they're like, all right, everyone stop yelling, put this in your mouth?
You're so nearly there. You are so nearly there. Yeah, it's absolutely trying to get a big group to be quiet, but there is a particular reason and location and a reason why this would particularly work right there.
Is it some sort of a tourist location where people are making noise and they want the residents want them to be quiet, so the police hand them lollipops and now it's quieter at that location?
Yes, it's not a specific location, it's a place and time. Not like a specific one, but just when you have a rowdy crowd waiting.
Football? So why does my head go there?
Man, this says something about the personal lives and entertainment lives of folks who are on YouTube and doing podcasts right now. I will say that I have seen this firsthand once.
Whoa.
Nightclubs?
Yes.
Just at night?
Absolutely. Spot on. The police were, as the nightclub was kicking out, as a big group of rowdy, drunk people went out into the night, the police handed out lollipops to try and keep people quiet while they got away and didn't wake up the residents. You are absolutely right.
Wow.
That was a lovely team effort from people there.
Wow.
Wow. That's really interesting.
That makes a lot of sense.
I never had that whenever I went back in the day when I used to go clubbing. I never had that.
Yeah, apparently it happened first in Canada. The reference we've got is from Britain in 2011. But yes, I have once left a nightclub. 2011 was after I left university, so honestly I'm not sure which one it was or where it was, but I was given a lollipop as I left as kind of a could you just stay quiet for a bit. And equally, like in some cases the nightclub started paying for themselves because it was just better than getting all the noise complaints from the residents down the road.
Dang.
So yes, in 2011 a few British police forces started giving out lollipops to get nightclub goers to shut up after they left. Time for the tables to be turned again. We're going to Ren for this question, and as ever, I've got